Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast is your one-stop shop for fantasy football news and advice. Can't decide on who to draft on the first round? Going gaga on how to line up your team. Got you covered. Traditional leagues, dynasty league, PPR league, IDP league, even daily fantasy football league. Join us as we break down all the questions of fantasy football. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. In this show, we will be talking about daily fantasy for this weekend. We have 4 games in the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. Good matchups, some good offense I think we will see this week. You know, should be a difference from last week where it was very defensive-minded games, low-scoring outcomes. I don't think that's what we see this week. Of course, I'm your host, as always, Mark Souza, and with me is Jeff Malinoff.
Hello, everybody. How are you? I'm good, thanks.
GSMC Podcast Network, check it out for the rest of our shows. But yes, I wanted to start off with talking a little bit about the games, what we expect in terms of back and forth, weather, things like that. And then we'll start breaking down positions as we look at daily fantasy. We'll use DraftKings as our pricing guide, so this can vary with different forms of...
FanDuel is a little different as well.
FanDuel, you can do daily fantasy on a number of different sites, but those seem to be the two most popular. We'll use the DraftKings model for this when we talk about prices.
DraftKings offers a little bit more money with less fee, like a less buy-in.
I don't know about all that. I play both personally, but
I gotta get into FanDuel again because they gave me extra credits.
We'll do quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, defenses, and special teams, of course. And then, of course, as always, what we do at the end, we pick our teams.
I could look at FanDuel and you can look at DraftKings and we can go from there.
Sure, that works for me.
Yeah. That's how we're on the spot like that.
Yeah, and then so we'll have 3 segments today. Our last segment, we'll pick our teams, where we always do for push-ups every week on Fridays and then Mondays.
Oh, yeah, I had to do my 50-50.
I didn't forget 55.
Today. Yeah. That'll be on the final segment.
Okay. All right. So, you sure you don't want to knock them out right now?
No.
Well, I at least provide some backstory of some of these games?
Sure, fine. I'll do it.
All right, go ahead. Just better to do it. So I'll start off we'll look at each game in particular first and foremost. I'll give you news and notes regarding everything you need to know. First off, the Colts, Indianapolis, they will travel to Arrowhead Stadium and play the Kansas City Chiefs. As of right now, this game has the highest over-under in the total points. And, of course, as daily fantasy football players, we look at that. We use over-unders to give us a good basis of where we're going to go. What games are we going to target? You know, some people like to use stacks, quarterbacks, receivers, tight ends, running backs, things like that, and they'll usually target games with highest over-unders. Well, just looking at the 4 games this weekend, 57 is the over-under for the Colts Chiefs. Cowboys-Rams is 49.5. Chargers-Patriots is 48, the lowest. Philadelphia-New Orleans is at 51.5. So right off the bat, you see that the Colts have a... Is it 50 or 55? It's 55 push-ups. Got it. Jeff's doing his push-ups. He's what number are you on? 44. Oh, he's almost done. So Colts and Chiefs are expected to be... That game is expected to be the highest scoring game by a considerable margin, by about a touchdown. So this might be a game to target, but there is a key factor, and that is weather. This is a game that will be played in most likely snowy conditions. It is snowing right now in Kansas City. The forecast has it snowing tomorrow. It's going to be about 30 degrees at the highest temperature. We could see temperatures drop into the teens, maybe the low 20s. So we expect it maybe like 26, 27 degrees with snow on the field and snow probably during the game. So good job, Jeff. I know 55 right off the top, not so easy to do.
Yeah, I'm good now. I'm good.
Do you think, let me ask you this before we start breaking down the positions. Do you think the weather in the Colts-Chiefs game, do you think that'll affect the score positively or negatively or no effect at all? Do you think it'll lend itself to being a high-scoring game because of the snow and the cold, or a low-scoring game, or is 57 points about what you expect?
Well, with the cold in the snow, not a lot of games go high-scoring in the cold, in the snow, in these type of games. So I'm not expecting a lot, but I will expect some competitiveness, maybe at least 20 points, like 20, like each team gets about 3 to 4 touchdowns.
The over-under is 57, so yeah, the public thinks that it'll be a pretty high-scoring game. 57 in an NFL game is pretty high. So it doesn't seem like maybe the public is too concerned at this point. Usually it's win that's the biggest factor, right?
Yeah, I would say so, but I think it's just like who's used to the cold, who's going to warm up to it, you know?
Mm-hmm. So as of right now, I mean, it looks like tomorrow the wind won't be too much of a factor. They're expecting anywhere between 6 and 10 mile an hour winds, which is not critical. I think if it gets high, I think if it gets up to like 15, 20, then you're looking at a big difference. But we can say Andrew Luck and Patrick Mahomes have strong arms. You know, they're able to.
They're very muscular.
They're able to cut through the wind with their spirals. So that, I don't know if it's going to be a concern, but I guess we'll start off in this. Which quarterback do you like in this game between Mahomes and Andrew Luck? Because these are going to be two of the most popular daily fantasy picks for quarterback.
One is comeback player of the year. The other one is MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think it's destiny. 50 touchdowns and 5,000 yards. Yeah.
You're right. He's probably going to win MVP. So Mahomes' rate is priced at $7K. Andrew Luck is at $6,200. Which one do you like in this matchup?
God, I think I gotta go with Mahomes. Gotta go with the safe bet on this one. The guy with, I know he has no experience in the playoffs. This is going to be his first playoff game. Mm-hmm. But honestly, how he's been playing, I don't think that's going to affect him at all.
Yeah. All right. So let's take a look at some of the other games too. What we'll do is we'll break down each one of the games, and then we'll go back and see which players we like. So the second game on Saturday is Dallas at the Rams. The Cowboys come in, obviously, off that impressive win against Seattle, 24-22. Shouldn't be any weather problem there. They're in Los Angeles. Do you have any guess what the weather forecast will be tomorrow?
I'm expecting cold.
Los Angeles.
Oh, and I'm still expecting cold.
62.
Really?
Come on,
that
man.
is pretty cold.
L.A.? It's L.A., man.
That's cold.
62?
Well, we're from California. I'm used to
I'm
cold.
from California too, but 62 is warm.
I'm a wimp when it comes to cold. That's cold to me.
Mm-hmm. What's it right now outside?
Probably
like 50 degrees.
Yeah, that's
so it's
cold.
12 degrees warmer it is right now.
Obviously, it's not going to be the weather's not going to be as a factor as other games.
It's going to be 62 and sunny. So
obviously, no factor.
No factor there. We got a Rams.
When I say cold, that affects it. Like I mean cold, like when it's raining and it's wet, and then it gets cold. Mm-hmm. That just adds on to the.
Todd Gurley will play. He's off the injury report now. Now I'm not saying his knee is no concern, not of any concern at all, because it should be. He hasn't played in 3 weeks, and he was even experiencing soreness this week. He hasn't been hit. I would
put a big question mark on it. If you're trying to pick some people to win, I have a big question mark on him personally.
He hasn't been hit. So we don't know how his knee's going to hold up, but he will play. Yeah. And then we take a look at the Sunday matchups. The Sunday we have Chargers at the Patriots. That game will also be cold. We're looking at most likely no snow, though. It doesn't look like there will be precipitation. But when you're looking at Sunday's forecast, 29 degrees is the high that they're expecting in Foxborough. It could be as low as 16. 6 mile an hour wind. again, it doesn't look like it will be snowing at all. It looks like the forecast shows it'll be clear, maybe partly cloudy. And then the late game on Sunday is the Saints hosting the Eagles indoors, so we don't have anything to worry about in that regard. Now, going back to the Chargers game, Melvin Gordon, he's going to play. I don't think he really looked 100% last week against the Ravens.
He did not.
But maybe he'll be better off. I don't know. The cold can do some weird things, too. I don't know if that will make him feel better or worse.
Him like Wolverine? What are you talking about?
Huh?
It's like he's Wolverine. It's his adamantium. He can heal from it.
I don't know about that. Just saying, like, your muscles and stuff tend to stiff up a little bit in the cold. I don't know if that will be a factor. But let's start off with quarterbacks.
Okay.
Let's just go down. Mahomes at 7,000.
And on
Breeze
FanDuel
is actually number 2 in terms of price.
On FanDuel, he's 9,000. But I'm pretty sure they have a higher salary on FanDuel.
Right. We should probably just stick with 1 because then we're going to start confusing people.
FanDuel then.
Because the ratio is going to be whatever. Okay. But Mahomes is 7,000, Breeze is 67, Luck 6,200, Rivers 5,700, Brady 56, Goff 55, Foles 54, Dak 52. So I'll say it right now, regardless of price tag, which quarterback do you think will score the most points this week in daily fantasy? Don't worry about price tag. Just give it to me straight.
I think, it's against Kansas City. I might have to go with Andrew Luck. It's him or Drew Brees to me.
No Mahomes?
It's not against Mahomes, just that defense is better than Philadelphia's and Kansas City's. So I'm going based off defense right here and how they can do against those defenses. Andrew Luck, again, Kansas City's defense is weak, much weaker than anyone else's in remaining right now. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would say that they're the worst defense left.
Yeah, but that's not saying a lot either because there's only 6 to 8 teams left, so it's not that big of a deal. But
Mahomes has the ability to have a big game, though. I mean, he's the highest priced player at quarterback.
When you talk about like the defense, the amount of points they give up, like for a quarterback in fantasy, is 32nd. They're last. So I think that's a huge factor why I say Andrew Luck. And he's been playing extremely well, and T.Y. Hilton is on a roll.
With Andrew Luck, though, maybe the fear is that they'll run the ball more. Marlon Mack and that offensive line.
If you remember earlier in the season, he threw for 50 attempts?
Yeah.
No, and this pass defense, I think they're going to take much advantage of it as much as they can. I think Frank Reich's going to give the ball to Andrew Luck a lot.
Oh, that's true. But, yeah, I think a lot of people think,
have you seen that beard Frank Reich's been growing, though?
Last week, Andrew Luck didn't have a huge game. Marlon Mack had the huge game. So some people are expecting that offensive line.
It's hard to go back-to-back, though, in games like that in the playoffs.
Yeah, but is it hard when you have that line against that weak Kansas City
Isn't it weird how last year we were joking about how bad the offensive line was, and now the Colts have probably the best offensive line in the league?
So you have Luck you like Luck scoring the most fantasy points at the quarterback position. Mm-hmm. Who do you think is the best value? Is it Luck or is it someone else for you?
Luck is only in 6,000.
He's third of the 8 quarterbacks in terms of price. Is he the best value, or is there somebody maybe lower, maybe like a Brady or a Goff or a Foles or a Dak?
Well, you were talking about this on our football podcast. You want to check that out, that Goff has been struggling.
Yes.
And he's a big question mark. Tom Brady, it's playoff time, so it's usually he comes on his own. Nick Foles, same exact way. But I think I gotta keep my stand with Andrew Luck. I think 6,200 is it's perfect price.
Goff's last 5 games, his daily fantasy points on DraftKings are 10, 3, 15, 18, and 24. So yeah, not good.
Yeah,
I do think he's a good value though in this weekend because the Cowboys can give up points and yards in the secondary. I think that's their weakness. But I'm kind of with you in terms of Andrew Luck. I think Andrew Luck, man, I don't know. This one's actually really tough for me.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I will say that Andrew Luck is No, I think Mahomes is going to have the most points.
You think so?
Yeah, Mahomes will have the most points.
Well, it's safe to
Andrew
go
Luck,
with him,
I
obviously.
think I actually picked the Colts to win this game, but I think Mahomes will have the more fantasy points. But for my best value, I think I have to go with Jared Goff because of that defense, that price point, 5,500. I know he's been struggling, but that's kind of why I think he is the best value because he's priced low because of how poorly he's done. But that's why you're getting him at a cheap rate. So he's my best. So you said who was your
my quarterback?
Yeah, who is
It was Andrew
best
Luck.
your best value? Was Andrew Luck?
Yeah, it's still Andrew Luck.
All right, and which quarterback would you say to stay away from that you're not touching at all?
Jared Goff.
Goff is your stay away.
Yeah. The team around him isn't playing well, but him himself has had struggles, and that concerns me.
Yeah. My stay away, this might surprise you,
What?
but my stay away is Nick Foles.
That doesn't surprise me.
I just don't think he's going to have a great game. They could win, don't get me wrong.
Well, any team can win.
But I don't think he has any chance of having the most points this week. That's kind of why I say that.
That's a completely fair assumption.
Like, he could do well, but I don't think
I know it's
that
better if
he
we
has,
argue, but I got to agree on that.
I don't think he has a chance of leading the pack, I guess you could say, at quarterback.
Nice. Very well done,
So,
sir.
we can move on to running backs now.
Sure,
Let's
we can
do
do
it. We'll start with running backs. We'll take a break at halfway, and then we'll see what happens after that. But, okay, running back. Ezekiel Elliott is the highest
Would
price.
you call Cordell Patterson a running back since he runs
No.
the ball a bunch? I mean, he runs like I know he's
He
not.
used to run, but they have their players back. So.
Yeah.
Um,
It got kind of ridiculous, though.
all right, so Ezekiel Elliott, he is the highest price running back, 8,200. Gurley's at 8,000. Then Kamara, then Gordon, Marlon Mack, Ingram, Damian Williams, James White, C.J. Anderson, Sony Michel, Spencer Ware, and then we have some backups.
I understand why Gurley's highly priced, but he's coming off an injury, and that seriously concerns me.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think he's 100%. I think he was dealing with soreness, and he might still be. And it's been 3 weeks. He didn't play the last 2 regular season games, and he had a bye week. So he hasn't played football in almost a month, yet he's still hurt.
And a month is a long time.
And we are talking about players that are getting constant treatment, so it's like there's something going on there, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So who do you like from this list? Who do you think will get the most points? Not based on price, just who will score the most?
I think I got to go with, Marlon Mack again. I know I'm going back to Indianapolis, but Kansas City is 31st in giving up points to the running back and 32nd in quarterback. Mm-hmm. And these two guys are on a roll.
So then is Mack also your best value?
He's at...
Because he's
at 5,800.
He's way less than Ezekiel, Gurley, and Kamara.
Yes, and I think that's good, but also Mark Ingram is a pretty good price, too, at 5,200.
So is Ingram your best value?
Ingram is my best value because 5,200 is considerably... 5,800, 5,200 doesn't sound like a lot big difference, but eventually when you're kind of nailing down your prices at players, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like Ingram.
I know Gurley's not fully healthy, but I feel like he might get the most points still.
He might be my stay away, to be completely honest with you. Because I'm super hesitant.
I like Elliott and Gurley this week, but I think it'll be Gurley who has the most points.
Okay.
My best value, I think, is Marlon Mack. I will be playing a lot of Marlon Mack. I think most people will. I think Marlon Mack's going to be the most popular running back owned because of that price.
Yeah.
He could be the number one. He could finish the week at number one.
Oh, absolutely. And then, but if they go to the conference championship game, he's going to be probably the most expensive.
All right, so let me ask you this. Which running back are you staying away from completely?
The thing is, I'm thinking Todd Gurley, to be honest with you. But he's too good to say no to, if that makes sense.
Thing is, the Cowboys give up a lot of receptions to running backs, and Gurley, I think, is going to have 6 or 7 catches.
Yeah.
And if he has that many, then he's going to have a big game.
That is what I'm thinking about.
But PPR scoring can really change, you know? It can really
I might have to say Damian Williams.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't like him this week? But Spencer Ware is hurt. He might not play.
I know, but I think they're going to be just in the air a lot more than they're going to be on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like would you rather trust Damian Williams running the ball or Patrick Mahomes throwing the ball? That's the question.
Well, if you're a running back in the Chiefs offense, you're probably going to have a good game. It's just because Damian Williams had some big games when he got to play, when he got to start.
Yeah.
So who knows?
Yeah. But it's hard to really avoid a lot of these good running backs. It's a deep lineup.
My stay away is Melvin Gordon.
Is it? Okay. I was considering him also.
Just because you talked about Gurley not being healthy, I don't think Melvin Gordon's healthy. He didn't look like himself last week. And I don't know, he played a tough defense. He just didn't look the same explosiveness.
He looked slower. I know what you mean. He looked a little bit slower than usual.
Yeah, he just
which is a serious concern with a guy that's speed. Or maybe not speed, but elusiveness.
And I like Melvin Gordon, but if I'm going to pay that much, I'd rather pay a little bit less for Marlon Mack, and then I'd rather pay a little bit more for one of the top 2 guys. Mm-hmm. I just don't like his price point. It's like in the middle for me. Like either pay up for the top guy, Elliott or Gurley or Kamara, or what do you think about Kamara though?
I like him. He's in one of my lineups.
I will say this: I think this is a Kamara game and not an Ingram game.
Mm-hmm.
The Saints, and this is my theory, but they don't use Kamara enough. They don't. And I think they are saving him for the playoffs. I really think that in the playoffs, that's where you don't care. You don't worry about giving him too many touches. And I think Kamara out-touches Ingram like 3-1 this weekend, honestly. I really see that happening.
I know Kamara, everyone says he's better than Ingram, and I agree. But these two are just so talented, you can't favor one over the other.
The thing is, though, is that Kamara is a lot better than Ingram.
Mm-hmm. But
Ingram's good.
Ingram's good. Like, that's a dangerous
But Kamara scores touchdowns at the most insane rate in the NFL. I mean, it's every time he touches the ball, he can score. And Ingram is a good player, but God, Kamara might be the best. Kamara might be the best skill player in the NFL. He might be.
I agree.
He just might be.
But I'm not taking anything from Mark Ingram, but I do agree with you, though. There's a lot of people named Ingram in these games. I just realized.
Melvin Ingram, Mark Ingram.
Marvin Ingram, yeah.
Who's Marvin Ingram?
Or Melvin Ingram, sorry.
I totally Marvin and Melvin would be interesting.
I totally brain farted.
You get them all on the same team.
I totally just made your brain fart.
Anyways, we got.
How would you tell the difference?
It'd be a lot of letters on the back. We got to go to a break. When we come back, we're going to talk about wide receivers and tight ends. But before we do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about audiobooks because I like to listen to audiobooks when I'm driving, when I'm working out. And I do that with Audible. There's no better place to do that than with Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet. And now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month you get 3 titles of your choice. 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and fitness programs that you just can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. You can now try it for 30 days free by visiting audible.com/GSMCbook. Or get your smartphone out, text GSMC book to 500-500. Again, start your 30-day free trial with Audible today. We'll be right back.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington Target.
Alrighty, welcome back to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Again, we're talking DFS as, of course, dude, divisional playoffs, man. This is fun. I think it's going to be a fun week.
We said there's not the wild card game.
But this game, the wild card game had a lot of intriguing matchups, but this game has this weekend has a lot of offense.
Yes, it does.
Like, all the point totals are higher
Except for the Saints defense, every other defense is mediocre.
But even the Saints defense, it's not so good where you can't see the Eagles scoring.
They're ranked first, though.
I mean, what, overall in the NFL?
I believe they were ranked first.
I think the Ravens had the number one defense.
Or they were up there. Rushing, they were number one.
But the Saints defense can be beat. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's not a team here that has a defense where you're like, oh.
Well, remember Ryan Fitzpatrick had Fitzmagic that week 1 game.
Let me ask you this.
Never forget.
Let me ask you this. Would there be one team this weekend where if I told you that they were going to score 30 points, you'd be shocked by?
No.
Yeah, me neither. It's like
honestly, every
Patriots,
game,
the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Eagles. I think they could all score 30.
The two best defenses around are Chargers and Saints right now, and they both
probably, yeah.
They both can give up points.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's move on to wide receivers. We talked about quarterbacks and running backs, most points, best value, and the players that were staying away. Michael Thomas is the highest priced receiver. Tyreek Hill's number 2. T.Y. Hilton is number 3. Are you surprised that Michael Thomas is the highest priced receiver this week?
Not exactly. He's just a beast in himself, so makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's obviously an incredible player. I remember when he was drafted, and people were like, I don't really know this Ohio State wide receiver. He had a decent college career, but like he wasn't like a, like people were like, that's an interesting pick. And then all of a sudden, Sean Payton knew exactly what he was doing, right?
A shocker.
Right. Of course. Sean Payton knowing what he's doing. Never heard that before. All right, so let me break this down. Thomas, Hill, Hilton. Amari Cooper is the number 4 wide receiver in price. Keenan Allen, Julian Edelman, Robert Woods, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Cooks, Dontrell Inman. Which player do you think will score the most fantasy points at the wide receiver position this weekend?
I don't want to go with the obvious choice.
Michael Thomas?
I was thinking more of the Tyreek Hill. But I will have to say you might have to go with a blessing and a shocker. Traquan Smith.
Traquan Smith is going to score the most points of any receiver this weekend.
Have you? Well, I got to go with something not obvious.
No. You can go with obvious. We're trying to tell the people out there who is going to score the most points.
All right, fine. I'll go back to T.Y. Hilton then.
T.Y. Hilton?
Another Colt, I know, but...
I mean, if you think Luck is going to have the most yards or the most points, he's got to pass to somebody.
Exactly.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. He probably has the best matchup.
I just sound like a broken record because 3 of my best players are Colts. But you're facing a very weak defense. You're going to have
I don't think there's anything wrong with that at all.
Thank you.
No, I mean, T.Y. Hilton. He had a great game last game. He's Andrew Luck's favorite target.
He's probably one of the better.
Chiefs secondary's weak.
Yes, very weak.
So why wouldn't T.Y. Hilton? Yeah, you can make as good an argument for T.Y. as anyone else.
And there are limited number of teams left, so it's hard to choose between all the teams.
Yeah, for me, I think this is tough.
I was thinking.
Give me a little bit of Tyreek Hill.
I was about to mention him. Like, give you advice.
Doesn't it feel like that this is just going to be a drag out, shootout type of game where like Tyreek and then Ty and then Kelsey and
it's shaping up to be that way.
And then Marlon Mack will get loose for one. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like there's going to be a lot of big plays in this game, right?
These defenses are going to be on the field a lot, watching the other team score. I feel like.
You know what, though? I will say, Jeff, last week, I wasn't really excited about a lot of the wide receivers when I was playing daily fantasy. I was like, man, I don't know about some of these guys. Like, it was a real scraping. Like, I was trying to convince myself that Nelson Aguilar was going to have a big game. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. I was trying to convince myself that, like, Taylor Gabriel will go off. But this week, there's guys like Robert Woods, Alshon Jeffrey, Brandon Cooks that are very reasonably priced. Who do you think is the best value at the wide receiver spot?
Best value?
Yeah, like somebody who you like that price tag. Like they could give you a ton of points and they're not that expensive. Is it a guy like Traquan Smith at 4,200?
I might have to say Traquan Smith. 4,200 is extremely cheap.
But are you worried about Traquan Smith?
Well, the thing is, Breeze gives us to every. He doesn't play favorites a lot when it comes to his receivers.
So Traquan has 2 games where he has over 29 fantasy points.
Yes.
And then he has 2 games over 10, and then the rest are.
I know it's a huge
risk.
risk.
He could get 1 catch for like 10 yards, right?
Well, I know it's a
or
huge risk, but you got to
game.
pick a guy that's cheap and maybe not going to get a lot of points, but maybe can't break out.
4,200. So you think maybe Michael Thomas will have the focus, and then Traquan can get loose for a touchdown or 2?
And Breeze, like I said, doesn't play favorites. He loves to throw to all his receivers, so he's going to get opportunities.
So you like
Traquan.
Traquan's kind of your sleeper this week.
Yeah.
That's an interesting pick.
Watch this. He's going to get like 300 yards receiving. I know that's
my best value. My best value is Brandon Cooks.
I'm just worried about Jared Goff.
So I like Brandon Cooks.
He might not get the ball a lot.
I like Brandon Cooks because I think the Rams will pass a lot in this game, and
To save Gurley, you're saying?
And I think that the Seahawks. I think Tyler Lockett got loose a couple times last week, and the Seahawks didn't take advantage of the passing game enough. I think we both can agree on that.
We criticized them pretty harshly on Monday.
They should have thrown the ball more. I mean, I think Pete Carroll would be the first person to tell you that.
Oh, yeah.
You know? And the thing is that Brandon Cooks and Tyler Lockett are similar in the fact that they're both small and super fast and quick.
But can I make up? Okay.
Argue against in just a second. So my argument for is Cooks is small, quick, very fast. And the Cowboys secondary is good. The corners are good. But they like to play man-to-man. And I think Cooks can get away from those bigger DBs. I think he presents a matchup problem. And we know about his big playability. He could be a player. He's basically Tyreek Hill, but on the Rams. Like, he basically is that player. Does he score as many touchdowns? No. He also doesn't have a quarterback as big of an arm as Tyreek Hill does.
He's not able to make plays like Tyreek Hill. Because of the quarterback.
Right. Yeah, with the ball in his hands.
I should have finished that sentence.
No, I agree, though. Tyreek Hill is a freak of nature. There's nothing wrong with that.
He's my top 3
Tyreek Hill, I mean...
It's him, Antonio Brown, and DeAndre Hopkins are my best 3 receivers in the NFL
But this
now.
is... Let me ask you this question. Okay. Regardless of position, if you could pick any player in the NFL to get the ball at their own 1-yard line and say, go, and I have one chance to score a touchdown, who would you pick?
Tyreek Hill.
And then who would you pick? Any position. Just guy who you think is just elusive and fast and quick.
Maybe Alvin Kamara?
Exactly. That's who I would pick. 1 and 2. Hill and Kamara. Like, here's the ball. Do it.
Yeah,
like,
because
go ahead.
I was thinking maybe Brandon Cooks can be a speedy guy, but I was like,
Cooks you'd put up there.
Yeah,
like,
but
you'd be
I have to put
10.
Alvin Kamara up there in 1 and 2.
Dude,
but Tyreek Hill is just so much faster.
Alvin Kamara is so elusive and fast. He's
like butter.
And Alvin Kamara is underrated in terms of running short yardage. Like, he gets first downs when he needs to.
The thing is, like, when you talk about short runs, it's usually that's for Ingram. He's the red zone guy, and Kamara gets there basically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Brandon Cooks is like my best value.
I will play devil's advocate here, though.
Go ahead.
And say, between Tyler Lockett and Brandon Cooks, I agree with you. They're both roughly the same player. Russell Wilson was Tyler Lockett's quarterback compared to Jared Goff. I feel like those are 2 differences. But that's a key difference.
The difference also, though, I would argue back and say Sean McVay will not run the ball 55% of the time.
Oh, no, I agree. And he knows the right plays to use at the right time. He's a very smart coach for his age. And for a very young coach, he's very smart. So I don't...
And aggressive.
Very aggressive. Don't get me wrong. But with Jared Goff's struggles, I have my doubts. That's all I'm saying. Nothing against Brandon Cooks.
Sure.
It's Jared Goff that's
You're
my
just
worry.
talking... Wide receiver is the one position that relies on the most factors in fantasy football.
Exactly.
Because you need a line to block, a quarterback to make the decision to throw you the ball, the quarterback to throw you a catchable pass.
Yeah, exactly.
And a defender not playing perfect on that play and blocking
But
it.
Brandon Cooks can get open, absolutely. I'm
Sure.
not denying that. But Jared Goff is... Like, his last 2 games were terrible. Let's be honest.
So let me ask you, who's your stay away player for wide receiver? Yeah, you're just a guy that you're not paying what he is. Maybe you think he's a good player, but you just don't think like the upside is there.
That's a tough one.
Mine's Julian Edelman. I'm not paying that.
Really?
6,300. He's priced more than Robert Woods, Alshon Jeffrey, and Brandon Cooks. I think all three of those players are going to have a better day than Julian Edelman. Mm-hmm. And he never scores. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that.
Casey Hayward is also the slot corner for the Chargers. Very good player. Maybe their best cover corner. If we think that's going to be a low-scoring game, I know you like the Chargers in this game, and you don't think the offense of the Patriots is dynamic as it has been in the past. So I know you kind of see what I'm saying here.
No, you're playing the opposite side. You have to. Yeah, I get that.
I know that you kind of see what I'm saying. I just don't think, God, Edelman's too rich for my blood. 6,300, too rich for my blood.
Yeah, but it's his legacy that's the cost, not his actual play.
And he's been good. I know you're going to take over here, but he's pretty consistent. His last six games, 18, 9, 24, 16, 19, 20. Those are his last few games. He's been consistent all year, but go ahead. What were you going to say?
Well, he didn't play good last week. He might play good this week. I'm not sure, but he's also like a number one receiver.
Alshon.
I was going to say Keenan Allen.
Keenan Allen. Oh, so you're saying stay away from Keenan Allen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he only had 37 yards against the Ravens. I know it was a better defense, but
I considered him.
Yeah, because he hasn't been playing to a level, and he's coming off an injury, correct?
Yes, and the Patriots have Stephon Gilmore, and they're really good about taking away the number one option.
And Gilmore is so underrated. He's probably one of the most underrated backs in the league.
That is a thing, too, about daily fantasy. Like when you article after article about daily fantasy, they talk about the Patriots make quarterbacks throw to the other receivers that they don't like as much. They do take away number one.
Yeah, Stephon Gilmore is amazing. He doesn't get enough credit he deserves. And plus, he's going to be on Keenan Allen like a sticky note. So I think Keenan Allen's going to have a rough game. And we've seen Keenan Allen against a good secondary and a good defense like the Ravens, and he didn't do well. So, and again, I feel like he's still limited from that injury he's coming off of.
Yeah. I agree. I don't like either one of those guys, Edelman or Allen.
That just makes other players need to step up for those games.
Big
But
time.
We're going to take a short break. But first, I want to ask you, what would it be like if we all listen more? Listening to audiobooks inspires us, motivates us, even brings us closer. And there's no better place to listen than Audible. Audible has the largest selection of audiobooks on the planet, and now Audible members get more than ever before. Each month, they get 3 titles of their choice. 1 audiobook, 2 Audible originals, and finished programs they can't get anywhere else. There's never been a better time to experience Audible. Try it free for 30 days by visiting audible.com/GSMCbook or by texting the code GSMCbook to 500500. Remember, if you want to try Audible for 30 days for free, visit audible.com/GSMCbook or text the code GSMCbook to 500500.
What happens to your decision-making when you drink? Well, after one drink, you feel confident. A few more, and calling your ex at 1 a.m. seems like a great idea. And you're pretty sure the secret to a great taco is 4-day-old macaroni. The bottom line, drunk you doesn't make great decisions. So you're risking a DUI or worse if you count on him to get you home. Plan before you party. Get home safe. Brought to you by Washington Target Syrup.
Welcome back, everyone, to the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. We just finished talking about quarterbacks, receivers, and running backs. Now we're going on to the tight ends, which is probably the most crucial. It's pretty crucial, but people don't take it as seriously as they should.
Mm-hmm.
But who's your number one tight end get the most points?
Kelsey.
You Kelsey?
I know that I know Ebron's up there. Ertz.
Ebron was on my list as well.
Again, you know what's crazy? This is another good week for tight ends because last week there wasn't too many good options. There was no Kelsey. There was no Gronk to even consider. It was just Ertz and Ebron, basically. It was
honestly, Gronk is a question mark for me.
But even still, Gronk's better than a lot of the other
guys.
yeah,
absolutely.
You could see Gronk like having a throwback type of game where he scores a touchdown or two.
Yeah, like in the playoffs, it's just a whole different scenario than regular season for sure.
Yeah.
But I have to agree with you. I got to go Kelsey as well. But if I had to pick someone different, it'd be Eric Ebron.
Yeah, so
I picked all Colts for my most points, but
yeah, most points I think Kelsey will have the most.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
as
just have
good
to
as the
agree with you.
defense of the Colts can be.
Kelsey's a whole different monster.
Yeah. So you have Kelsey as the most points?
Yeah. And Kelsey's the tallest guy there, and he's the toughest guy there, and no one's going to be able to cover him. Like, how can you stop that? Mm-hmm. And the answer is no one has been able to.
Best value. Is Kelsey the best value or someone else?
Well,
Ebron's
Kelsey's at
5,500.
Kelsey's at 7,000, and Gronk's at 4,600. So I might have to go with Gronk on this one for best price.
Does it worry you though that he really hasn't? He's only had one big game.
He does
this year.
worry me, but 4,600, like tight end, like you're gonna be as soon as you go to like tight end, you're gonna be like low on money, and you got to think of average.
A depressing stat right here.
Oh no, what is it?
These are Gronkowski's season numbers.
Oh no,
47 receptions.
Oh gosh,
682 yards and 3 touchdowns.
How many games did he play?
He only missed 3 games.
What really?
He had a bye week.
That's actually surprising.
He had, let's see, 1, 2. He only had 4 games where he hit his projection or better.
Wow. Okay.
But I agree. He's a good value.
But he's really cheap.
4,600 is about as cheap as you're ever going to get Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, and if you're at the end like of your money and says like, oh, you can only get like 4,500 average left, you're going to take advantage of that.
So you have him as your best value.
Yeah.
I will
because
counter.
Eric runs 5,500 and Kelsey 7,000.
I will counter though with the Chargers secondary, especially Derwin James, all pro safety. Looks like he will be covering Gronk.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'm not
could
denying
see another tough day at the office.
I'm not saying pick him. I'm saying he's going to be probably the lowest price for most contributing.
Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to say the best value is Ebron.
5,500 is still pretty good. Expensive though.
It is. But
I was tempted to say that, but I was like, 5,500 is a lot, and Gronk's only 46.
That's why I went expensive, but for me, it was either him or Ertz. To be honest with you,
Ertz. Well, spoiler alert, he's my stay away.
All right, yeah.
You want me to talk about it now, or
go ahead?
Well, Foles. That's not his go-to. That's Wentz's go-to.
That's true.
And I know he's had a couple of good playoff runs, but honestly, when it comes to Nick Foles, he would pass to Alshon Jeffrey any day of the week over Ertz. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm very hesitant to take him. He's had a good season, but it's just like I said, that's Wentz's guy, not Foles' guy. And when you have a guy, we know Foles' guy is Jeffrey. We know he's going to get the ball constantly.
Yes.
And even though we didn't talk about him in our wide receivers, he's obviously going to be someone people choose, and that's a smart move.
My stay away is Gronk, actually.
Just
because I think he could have a good game, but there is the fear that he just gets shut out. If I get 0 points from tight end, I'm going to be upset, right?
Yeah.
Whereas what you're saying about Ertz,
he's my last option when I have low on money.
What you're saying about Ertz is absolutely right. That is Wentz's guy. That is not Foles' guy. Mm-hmm. But
Foles will pass to him. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but Ertz should get the ball. He should have at least 4 or 5 receptions, at minimum.
And then Jeffrey will get 10 to 11.
Probably yes. I would say so because
that's why I'm bringing that up. Because if it was Carson Wentz, I would say Ertz all day.
Yeah,
but it's not Wentz.
For 1,100 more, I'd rather have Ertz than Gronk, just because I know that I'm going to get 5 for 50 yards. As a baseline,
right.
And then maybe he'll score. Maybe
yeah. But both those tight ends Gronk is on a different reason than Ertz. Ertz is still healthy and all that stuff. It's the quarterback. And what did you said? You said the same.
Been so crazy.
You said the same thing with wide receivers. Is so many different factors have to go into when receiving tight ends need points. And when he's not a go-to, that's a serious problem.
And another factor, too, is we don't know the game plans of these teams.
If we did?
What if we knew that all week at Eagles practice, every red zone play was to get Ertz open? If we knew that, everybody's having Ertz.
Yeah.
Everybody's putting Ertz in.
But then the other team would know.
That's what I'm saying, though, right? Football.
If wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean.
The coaching aspect in football is huge in daily fantasy because we don't know what game plan these teams are going to employ. We don't know. Maybe Tyreek Hill is a decoy all afternoon in the Colts-Chiefs game, and then it opens up one of these auxiliary receivers and they score.
That's a smart play by Andy Reid if he does that, because Tyreek Hill's been so dangerous during the regular season. Why wouldn't you pretend to keep doing the same thing and then go to somebody else? Mm-hmm. Because people have the game footage.
All right, so let's move to defenses. Who do you think's the most highest? You already knew?
Saints.
Yeah, it's Saints.
I can't think of anything else.
So, okay. Give me the defense you expect to score the most points. I know this is tricky because you're relying on a lot of different factors like sacks and turnovers.
I'm going to say Saints again.
You think the Saints will be the highest scoring defense?
Yeah. I know they're playing Philadelphia and they're kind of on a roll, but that just seems like a done deal for me. Just how that defense is, like, they don't have when you think of big names, you don't really think of Saints players, but they get the job done. Very good at turning over the ball.
For me,
the number one seed for a reason.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. I think the most points, I'm going to go with the Rams because
that's the second highest.
I think they have the best opportunity to make a couple big plays with Dak Prescott throwing the ball, Aqib Talib in the secondary, Marcus Peters. Obviously, Aaron Donald is always a threat to make a big play.
The dude could get sacks if he was the only one on the line, for God's sakes.
Yeah, but I do like the Saints, too, in this. All right, so what's your best value?
I'm just looking at it right now. What's shocking to me is Kansas City's 2,500 and Philadelphia is 2,000. But the best value, the Colts at 2,100.
You think so? Even though they might give
They're
up
facing
a ton of points?
I know, but they have the leading tackler on their team. That's why I say that.
But you don't get points for that.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you have, like, sometimes you spend a lot on other, like, defense is usually the last people pick, and usually you have under $3,000 or under $2,500. Sometimes you got to just take that and just pray. Mm-hmm. If you have 3,300, take the Saints. That's the great deal. But if you're under 3,000, you might have to go with. You can't go with the Rams or the Saints, so you have to go with somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, you make some good points.
It's just based off how much money you have left. Because is defense the last one you picked as well? Because that's the last one I picked.
I actually usually pick it first.
Do you really?
Because I like to see how cheap I can go and then see where I can. Like, I like to usually go defense, then tight end, and then I fill it out. I usually pick quarterback last, but it depends if I'm already thinking I'm going to do a stack, then I'll do it first. I'll do quarterback, my receiver, whatever. Right. But I
kind of already have ideas of who I'm going to go with before I start anyways.
That's true. So I'll do multiple lineups, but my first lineup, I usually will do defense, tight end, then I'll fill it out, and then my next lineups that I'll do, I'll just go down the list because at that point I already have different strategies.
Yeah, exactly. You always want to go different. Like, if you have Drew Brees on one, you don't want Drew Brees on the other.
You know what? I think the best value, if I'm being honest, is the Saints.
3,300 is cheap.
I know that they're the most expensive one, but
3,300 is so cheap in all the
I say this because they're playing at home. Their defense is good, and the Eagles can make mistakes. I know Nick Foles has been good, but
they made mistakes last week.
Yeah,
the Bears.
Their offense wasn't good last week. They
Nick
just
Foles
won the
played
game.
a terrible first half. People forget that. He had threw 2 picks, and one of those picks was the worst pick I've ever seen thrown in a playoff game.
And are the Saints as good defensively as the Bears? Probably not, but they're
up there.
Pretty close.
I would say they're top
enough.
5. Would you say top 5?
Maybe.
Number 5.
But the biggest factor for me is they're playing in the Superdome.
And that's
the hardest place to
play.
In
their Superdome.
Of all the games tomorrow, I think that's the hardest game.
By the way, that's my favorite stadium name of anything.
So what's your
Superdome?
What's your stay away defense? Is it the Eagles?
It might have to be the Eagles. I mean, they're playing the Saints.
Yeah,
kind of speaks for itself.
My stay away is the Colts.
Okay. I was only saying the Colts as cheap because I didn't want to go with the most expensive team because that doesn't feel like a deal. You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying that the Colts might be a good value, but I think the Chiefs. I don't see a scenario where the Colts get a ton of points. I think they could have a good game. I think they could be decent, maybe get some turnovers and some sacks. But I still think the Chiefs worst are going to put up like 24, 27 points. And it's like, if they do that, then, it's like hard to take.
You're
that.
hoping for pick sixes at least in that situation.
Yeah, I just think, and that's exactly what defenses usually come down to, is a special teams touchdown or a pick six or a blocked field goal for a touchdown.
That's the key about defenses. You get special teams as well.
Exactly.
And what the thing is like the playoffs are so unexpected. Who knows? Breeze might throw 4 picks. I know that's ludicrous sounding, but
I also think the Saints will use Kamara as a punt returner tomorrow because they do that sometimes, and he returns kicks.
I just feel like it's a big risk though in a playoff scenario.
It's definitely a risk
because more injuries happen on a kickoff than any other play usually.
Mm-hmm.
Because they're running full speed from one end of the field to the other.
All right,
and you don't think someone's going to throw a cheap shot at Kamara? You're lying.
So it's time to pick our teams where we don't use the salary cap. We're doing this for 60 push-ups.
Oof.
This is rough.
Oof.
Yeah, so last week I won, but this is a completely new week.
Yes, it is.
I mean, obviously, do you want to, did I pick first last time or did you?
I believe I did. I could be wrong, though. But I'll go first because I lost.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, obviously
we get to pick any quarterback you want.
Oh, this is so tempting. I'm stuck between Mahomes and Luck.
Uh-huh.
Give me Mahomes.
Interesting.
I know.
You're
right?
going against what you said, huh?
Well, they're both going to have great games. That's what I'm saying.
But you said Luck would have the most points.
I know.
And I said Mahomes would, and you went Mahomes.
I have to go with the odds, okay?
All right.
Hey, you sometimes can't. You got to go with your gut rather than what you think.
That's true. Interesting. What shall I pick? Well,
obviously, there's two obvious options. Well, I guess Rivers could be one too. They're actually all pretty good. Well, I wouldn't have Foles or Dak in my thoughts.
I am going to shock you. I'm picking Drew Brees.
Not Luck.
Nope. I picked Mahomes as my top. I picked Goff as my best value, but I did not.
Okay, and I'm picking Mahomes because every time we had this game, I pass on Mahomes, and he has an amazing game.
So Brees, my reasoning is obviously he's good. But against Philadelphia, he had 33.5 points. They won 48-7. He threw 4 touchdown passes.
I'm not taking away Brees. I'm just saying based off defensively alone.
No,
and momentum.
I think Brees will be the top quarterback. All right, so I got to go running back.
Nothing against Brees. I
got to go running back now. This is tough.
That we have a deep lineup when it comes to running back. 3 especially.
I'll take Gurley.
And I'll take Kamara. That's gonna be so even. Like these are the two you could say if the two best running backs in the league, you can say easily Gurley and Kamara.
All right.
Wide receiver next, huh?
Who's your wide receiver?
Give me T.Y. Hilton.
You took him last week. Did you or did I?
I did. And I think he gave me the most points.
He didn't have. He only had 13.
Oh, did he? Well, I had such a bad game.
Oh man, I feel like I got to go Michael Thomas. I mean, I'm taking Breeze.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going Michael Thomas. So then
you can't go wrong with Michael Thomas. The man's a monster.
I'm gonna go Kelsey on the flip on the tight end.
I'll take Ebron.
And then you get to pick a flex.
Give me a Zeke. I think I have to go there.
That's a good choice. He's the highest rated player.
Yeah.
Wow.
This is tough.
I could go Tyreek Hill and really kind of like hamstring you because I'd take like all of your weapons. Unless
you took Kelsey, huh?
Unless Mahomes threw it to someone else.
Which he very well might, because Andy Reid is that kind of coordinator when it comes to the offense.
Mm-hmm. That's a tough call for me.
It's a very tough call.
I could take Melvin Gordon.
But you said stay away.
I did. I could take... It really comes down to... For me, it's Hill. I mean, I could take Amari Cooper.
Mark Ingram is still a possible.
Oh, you know what? Brandon Cooks.
You know who we forgot?
No, you know what? I'm actually going to go Hill.
You know who we forgot that I should have mentioned?
Who's that?
Marlon Mack.
Yeah.
We
he
totally
could be,
forgot about him.
He could be in there. I didn't forget about him. I did consider him with my running back, but I feel like I'm only taking Hill because you took Mahomes. If you didn't take Mahomes, I probably would have taken.
But you would have taken Mahomes.
Yeah, most likely.
So.
But I can't believe that we didn't put either of the Rams receivers on there. Cooks, I was strongly considering Cooks.
Well, it's not them, it's the quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
How many times have we said that on this podcast already? But yeah.
So let's go over the teams again. This is your team. Mahomes, Kamara, Hilton, Ebron, Elliott. My team is Breeze, Gurley, Thomas, Kelsey, Hill.
Those are pretty stacked lineups, if you ask me.
Yeah, so that's what we got. We'll see who wins for 60 push-ups. It should be a big one, a big game. A big weekend in fantasy. I hope everybody does well. I hope you guys
I wish
win
you the best.
some money.
I hope one of you wins the $50,000.
If you win $50K, kick and you listen to this podcast, kick us over a couple hundred.
Nah, you can
know?
keep it.
A couple hundred.
All I ask is for a penny.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you were thinking of us.
All right. Well, I think that's time for us to end this show. We'll see you guys on Monday.
Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, we will see who does 60 push-ups on Monday. As always, I'm Jeff Malinoff. That's Mark Souza. And we will see you Monday.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Fantasy Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. From movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.